Well, hi there. I'm getting ready to make today some guacamole. I've only made it one time, and that was this week to experiment. Now I'm getting ready to make a larger batch, so I want you guys to tune in. So here I go. The first thing I'm going to do is take my avocado and I'm going to cut it, okay? Just take a knife and cut it. Like I said, I don't really care for avocados. See how I got that right there? And I've already got some, just for time's sake, I've already got some cut out in a bowl. So I'm just going to take that seed out of there. It jumped over there, don't want to get ate. And I'm going to take a spoon and I'm just going to spoon that out of that avocado, just like that. Like I said, I've never made this before, and I'm real fussy about guacamole. Only certain people can make it. So I said, let me try my hand at it, because what I haven't told people is that I'm giving up meat. I'm doing a 30-day challenge on giving up meat. So I'm coming up with alternatives to eat that are healthy, where I can still get my protein and all of that jazz. So I take that guacamole, not guacamole, but I take that avocado out of there, like that, okay? And then you're supposed to take a knife and mash it down, but don't mash it down too much. But rather than that, I don't know how many people remember this potato mash. I have a potato mash. So I'm gonna mash this avocado, and you don't wanna mash it too fine because you want some chunks, okay? You want some chunks. Just do that like that. I think I've got that mashed enough. It's much quicker than using a fork. And then I'm gonna take my lime. I'm gonna take my lime, and it calls for, but you guys know I don't measure. It calls for 2 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lime juice. Here are my little limes right here. And I'm gonna take 2 tablespoons, and I'm just gonna pour that over my avocado. I'm gonna take a little bit more than 2, okay? Once I do that, then I'm gonna take my tomatoes, and I'm gonna cut this tomato down the center. Then I'm just sort of gonna cut around all of those seeds and the innards Need another spoon. Then I'm gonna take that out of that tomato, that center. Get all the seeds out. You know, seeded fruit is better for you than non-seeded fruit. I'm going to take that out like that. Take all of them seeds out. I'm coming up with a more healthy alternative. I'm going to use 2 tomatoes. And I'm going to take that center out like that with the seeds. Like I said, I never thought I would do a no meat challenge for 30 days. So I'm just going to take that out, and these are some alternatives to not eating meat. So I'm going to cut that end off, the tops off. Okay, and then I'm going to take that tomato and I'm just going to slice it up. Slice it up. You see me slicing that up real good like that. Just slice that up. Then I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to slice the other way. Y'all get out the way. Slice it like that. Just sort of dice it, slice it, dice it, slice it. This is my healthy alternative. Okay, then I'm gonna throw that over in there. Like that. And I'm gonna do the other one. Take the end off. And I'm gonna slice them. Dice them. Slice and dice. I don't want to get them too small. Like I said, I just made this week. I made some yesterday, and I said, let me get on here. You know, I have to try things first. Because I remember last week I was going to do some fried potato cakes, you know, leftover mashed potatoes. And I was doing that, and it wasn't turning out right. So I told my husband, shut the camera off. Because I don't like to put anything out there that's confusing. And I tell you, them potatoes didn't act right, so I couldn't show those. So put all of those in there like that. Okay? And then what the recipe called for was taking some onion. I probably have about 1/4 of a cup of onion, maybe a little more. And they said you put it in warm water just to get some of that onion. You don't want it too strong with onion, so you soak it first. So then you just sort of take that out. Throw that in there. I like how it comes together. That's one good thing about recipes. You start out with nothing and you end up with something. So I'm just going to take as many of those onions out of there as I can. Throw those over in there. Okay, did that. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is I have a little recipe, a little cheat sheet here. I don't have fresh cilantro. I wish I did. I was at the store the other day and forgot to get some fresh cilantro. But as luck would have it, I had some in my cupboard. So I'm just using, you know, this cilantro, but I prefer fresh. The next time I make it, I'm going to have fresh. So I don't measure. I just sort of sprinkle. That cilantro over in there like that. And then it also calls for next some cumin seeds. I so happen to have had that. Sometimes I like it when I have things already in my cupboard and I don't have to go out and buy them. Sometimes these things come out too slow for me, so I have to use the other portion. I just sort of sprinkle some of that cumin seed in there. And just a little dash of salt, because I really don't like cooking with salt, but because the recipe called for it, I'm going to use just a dash of salt. Okay, and then I'm going to take my spoon and stir that all up like that. Just sort of stirring that up like that. Oh, it's looking good, and it tastes good. That's what I like about it. Not only does it look good, it tastes good. Just sort of getting that inside of that tomato sort of chopped up there. Okay, I'm just going to stir that all up like that. Real good. And this is guacamole, you guys. Guacamole. Oh, that looks so good to me. So, to make things look pretty, I'm going to put it in a nice pretty bowl. But what I did prior to that was I toasted me 2 pieces of toast. And I'm going to start eating this sprouted grain toast because it doesn't have all the white flour and all of this stuff in the ingredients that you can't pronounce. So I just toasted 2 pieces of bread and set those aside. And I'm going to take my guacamole and I'm going to just pour it in this pretty bowl. I'm going to pour it in that pretty bowl. And I can see why they say don't mash it up too much, because you want those chunks you want those chunks. I'm just gonna use all of that in there. Like that. Oh, this is so tasty to me. And I don't eat guacamole. The only time I've eaten it is basically when a relative that's of Mexican descent have made it. And I've never really tried my hand at it, but here you go. And what I garnish it with, I just take a little parsley, and I like things fresh. I didn't have the fresh, but this is a substitute. A little parsley, and just to make it look pretty, I just sprinkle that parsley on the top of that, just as a garnish, okay? Just as a garnish. And here you go with my bowl. Move all of that stuff out the way so you can see. And there's my guacamole. Oh, there's my guacamole. I'm gonna make me a little, put some on this toast. Oh, that looks very good. Very tasty. I'm gonna let y'all see me take my first bite. Here you go. I'm gonna take a bite. Mmm. 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 All right, you guys. That is good. I advise you to try it. So always know that the queen loves herself. She loves her guacamole dish. She loves her photographer, her husband, and she loves y'all to life. Ooh, that's some good guacamole there.